Oh my God.
They say a storm's a-comin', a dark and stormy night. There's something living in the mountains, something calling from the skies. I guess one might just say it's a weird and wonderful life. When you share your home with monsters, Mothman and the Bigfoot too, you'd better watch out where you're going, golly gobbler might get you. You can run, but you can't hide from this weird and wonderful life.
Perched atop the peninsula at the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers, Harpers Ferry was formally established in 1763 as just that, a town with a ferry across the Potomac. After the Revolutionary War, it didn't take long for the young U.S. government to recognize the importance of a town on the juncture of two powerful rivers. In 1794, George Washington proposed the town as the home for the new United States Armory and Arsenal, a decision that would drastically change this little town's destiny. By 1834, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad reached Harpers Ferry and further sealed its fate. In 1859, the town was the site of John Brown's raid, a single, brutal fight that became one of the flashpoints that ignited the Civil War. During the war, the town changed hands 8 times. The arsenal was completely destroyed, and the lower town was left in desolation. Though the lower town has since been reconstructed by the National Park Service as a historical park, it's no wonder that it is still home to many ghostly tales.
For this trip, we stayed at the Clarion Inn, which was only 4 minutes from Harpers Ferry. It offered a nice stay and was very reasonably priced. The only bummer was when the faceplate fell off of the air conditioner. But they made up for it with a super fancy bedside phone. Fancy. Overall, a good place to rest your noggin.
It's a well-known fact that you can't ghost hunt on an empty tank. And when you need to fill up, we suggest the Country Cafe. Whether you're looking for breakfast or lunch, this place was so nice that we ate there twice. No, seriously.
Second day in a row at Harpers Ferry. Second day in a row at the Country Cafe, baby.
The French toast deserved its own theme song. And the pancakes were no different. Everything about this place exudes down-home vibes, and the atmosphere is so cozy. Well, except for the fact that it's right beside a cemetery. Okay, so that may be a little morbid to some, but it didn't bother us. The occupants are really quiet, accommodating, and the food was just too dang good to worry about it. Also, we do want to note that the employees are very hospitable. 2 thumbs up.
We made it to Harpers Ferry, and it was simply breathtaking. It feels like you're taking a step back in time as soon as you enter the town. We got ourselves some go-go juice in preparation to check out this little slice of heaven. Because any time is a good time for coffee.
It is.
Yeah, it is, baby. You'll find that the town is super easy to explore. It's a small place, and everything is within walking distance, whether you're visiting the historical locations, the shops, or the eateries.
Speaking of historical locations, there's an industry museum where you'll learn about the armory, the canals, and other industries in 19th century Harpers Ferry. There's a dry goods store showing off what shopping in Civil War era Harpers Ferry would have been like. The Master Armorer's House is a great place to learn more about the townsfolk and the history of Harpers Ferry in general. And of course, John Brown's Fort, the fire engine house that John Brown and his men took refuge in. But that's just a few of the historical locations in town. Every street is like taking a step back in time.
And when you're ready to come back to the present, there's a decent number of little shops in Harpers Ferry lining the streets like marching soldiers, tucked away tightly into their respective alcoves.
We're gonna hit some of these cute little shops and see what they have in store for us.
A lot of them are somewhat repetitive, peddling the same wares. However, you'll be excited when you find a place that has unique offerings, such as True Treats, which sells old-fashioned candies from times past.
With all of this walking around, you're likely going to get hungry. There are plenty of places to get lunch within the historic part of town, but few to get dinner or a late-night snack. Keep this in mind if you plan on eating after a long day or after taking the ghost tour. We had to drive a decent bit out of the way for our dinner, and the shops seemingly close whenever they feel like it.
Now, just a fair warning about these shops too, they do not adhere in any way to their posted hours online. So if you want a coffee or a hot chocolate, you better get here early. And I mean half an hour early too.
As the sun began to lay its sleepy head behind the mountains, it was almost time to get down to business. However, as night began to fall over Harpers Ferry, something disturbing became more evident to us in the darkness. We spotted a house in which lights would seemingly flash on and off in a random way. And no, this was not a momentary incident. This light phenomena stayed true throughout the entire night, as we would later see them still flashing on our ghost tour. This was not an isolated incident, but we'll talk more about that later. We have a ghost tour to attend.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're in Harpers Ferry and we're about to do a ghost tour. What? It's badass, man.
And I wasn't the only one excited.
So our tour guide said that we could take as many pictures as we wanted along the way. Not a problem. This town is so cute. I love it.
We were so pumped. We'd heard amazing things about the Harpers Ferry Ghost Tour conducted by local historian Rick Garland.
Well, welcome everybody to the Ghost Tours in Harpers Ferry. We are 52 years old this year. This is by far the oldest ghost tour in America. My name is Rick Garland. I'm a living historian and tour guide, which means that I dress the part 1850s, 60s, 70s. My specialty is the 19th century, the American Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg, the Battle of Antietam, and the Battle of Harpers Ferry.
We reached out to him and he agreed to not only allow us to participate in the tour, but offered us the opportunity to film parts of it. We accepted and were on our way. While waiting for the rest of our tour companions to show up, we had the chance to talk with Mr. Garland. He's a very kind soul with a lot of charisma.
Like me to tell you how great it is to live here in West Virginia.
Yes.
It's almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. You walked right into it. Our lives are old here, they're older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Everybody! Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home down country roads. Did that change anybody's mind? They just laugh at me.
With him conducting daytime historical tours, we believe it gives his ghost tours an extra bit of punch as he weaves history with the tales of the paranormal in a fascinating way that latches onto you, giving you a deep and unique perspective. Once our group began to fill out, we were off to our first location of the night.
We're walking to our first location. This is awesome.
Mr. Garland told us many chilling tales.
In the 80s, when they're still being used as apartments, a fellow from Frederick, Maryland, 20 miles east of here, recently divorced, moves in that top floor apartment with his 3 young sons. He will then report that many nights after he put those kids to bed, he was unable to go to sleep, said he was kept awake by what he describes as the sound of a crying child. This went on for over 2 years. As many days he's at work, bleary-eyed and tired from not sleeping well, but he never says anything about it, doesn't want to scare his kids. He just deals
And
with
some
the best
were
he can.
so scary that people just couldn't handle it.
The story here was so scary that a woman actually screamed and ran away from the tour. I've never seen anything like it.
That being said, we don't want to go into too much detail, as we believe to get the full experience, you should take Rick Garland's ghost tour. You'll hear the beautiful way he presents these stories, as well as seeing these places for yourself. Still, we are going to share with you the darkest, most heartbreaking story we heard all night.
They say that if you walk late at night up Hog Alley, a short, steep street in Harpers Ferry, you might see a tall black man, dressed like a gentleman from the 1800s, pacing up and down the street, staring at the ground. If you get close enough, he slowly lifts his head, staring into you with his piercing blue eyes. But when he lifts his head a little farther, you see blood dripping from a wound in his throat. Dangerfield Newby was a member of John Brown's raid, fighting to free his wife and 7 children from slavery. He had tried for years to purchase their freedom, only to have the asking price go up every time he presented what had been previously agreed upon with their owner. Finally understanding that he would never be allowed to buy their freedom, he had chosen to fight for it instead, and was killed when a townsman shot him through the throat with a railroad spike loaded into his rifle. His body was then dumped on Hog Alley, left to be mauled by the hogs for which the alley was named. Now, some remnant of this man, who some believe to be the inspiration behind Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, continues to haunt this lonely street. Our tour guide reminded us to take plenty of pictures on Hog Alley, as there have been numerous reports of full-bodied apparitions spotted on this street. Not only that, but he's received pictures over the years from people who have claimed they've captured the apparition on camera.
Right now we're on Hog Alley, which is the location of the darkest story we heard on the tour by a large margin, and that's really saying something. And it's also said that this location experiences the most paranormal activity, so we're definitely going to take a lot of pictures while we're here and see if we can't catch anything.
We took plenty of pictures, but didn't detect anything out of the ordinary. Still, there's no doubt this place is a paranormal hotspot and harbors some of the darkest history we've ever heard of.
We just finished our tour.
It was so great. Thank you, Rick. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, history, spooky stories.
There was even some screamers and people ran away.
Because legitimate jump scares.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, he has a lot of charisma.
A lot
of charisma.
Yeah, so there was a lot of humor
Theatrics.
too. A lot of theatrics.
Some singing.
Yeah, the singing was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
We had a variety show on our ghost tour. It was amazing.
Totally.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And despite not capturing anything on Hog Alley, our night of frights was not over by any means. So Stephen was just taking footage of Hog Alley, and I'm watching him, and I can hear voices behind me. So I turn around fully expecting to see people behind me, and there's nobody there. And I'm like, oh, paranormal experience. Oh my God. Only to have Stephen point out that there's people farther up the street. And now he won't stop laughing at me. While this incident was funny, what happened next was definitely unnerving.
So we're walking back to our car, and we see another place that looks very much empty with more random flashing lights in it.
Yeah, so either all of Harpers Ferry has really faulty wiring, or this place is haunted.
Yeah, something, yeah. I'm going with haunted.
Harpers Ferry National Historical Park is truly a unique experience, not only for its incredible beauty and wildlife, but because the old lower town is steeped in our national history. From the arming of our infant nation to the birth of the railroads that connected our nation's capital to the rest of the country for the first time, ending in its brutal destruction during the Civil War. The National Park Service has given us all an incredible gift in the reconstruction of the lower town of Harpers Ferry, and it's one we believe everyone should see for themselves.
We actually want to come back
We
and do it again.
We want to come back when we're just on vacation.
Yeah.
And I feel like this might be the first area we've said that about.
Yeah.
We want to come back just on vacation.
Yeah. It's really pretty here.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
They say a storm's a-comin', a dark and stormy night. There's something living in the mountains, something calling from the skies. I guess one might just say it's a weird and wonderful life. When you share your home with monsters, Mothman, and the Bigfoot too, you'd better watch out where you're going, golly gobbler might get you. You can run, but you can't hide from this weird and wonderful life.